Okay, there we go. Looks like we are live. Welcome, everyone. To SEO This Week, episode number 74. Let people jump in. Notifications are sent out by YouTube. There we go. Looks like we are live. Well, sound works. Meetings being live streamed. Sweet. Cool. Cool. Thank you, G-Man. Appreciate you. All right. As I was saying, welcome to SEO This Week, episode number 74. Appreciate each and every one of you. So the last couple of days in April, time's flying, isn't it? Especially when you're putting off your taxes. I had an extension and then I submitted mine. So waiting for the final word from the accountants on how that's going to turn out. And then pay that off and start earning my bill for next year's government subsidized programs. We're funding those programs, as it were. Let's see. What are we going to talk about? So Google announced that they have completely rolled out their update, or the March update, that it's officially completely out. And so there's a lot of speculation still continue to this day about what they're doing and who they're targeting, et cetera, et cetera. And not a whole lot of data in regards to determining what changed or what didn't. And frankly, there's a couple of reasons for that. And I'll leave out my opinions, and then you can apply your own thinking or thinking you hear from other people. But first, a lot of the initial speculation coming from SEOs, in particular the SEO community on Twitter, which is probably more vocal, I would think, than any of the other communities out there, just because it's easier to be a shithead with the few characters you're given in Twitter than it is in, say, Facebook. And so a lot of the speculation has been a lot of guesses, and then the other side of it is, well, there's probably, I would say, three sides of this particular coin. There's been a lot of guesses, and then there's been some educated guesses. And I say educated guesses because the people that are using third-party data to look at the update and look at changes, etc., aren't necessarily like doing it out of a position of I wanted to be evil and mean or just be the smartest person in town. However, it's been my experience watching these folks that they don't let the data inform their opinions. They let their opinions interpret the data. And so they look at particular sets of sites and stuff, or they look up particular types of sites and go, oh, yeah, those went down. So it had to be X, Y, and Z. And so it's kind of a mixed bag in those two realms. And then the final realm is just the diehards. And I would probably put myself into this category as well, as all of y'all are full of shit until I see some science to prove it. And until I see some science to prove it, I'm going to go out and do my own testing. I'm going to figure out what's going on in my niche, and then I'm going to apply those changes and see what happens. Until someone else can outscale me in a test, then, keep my mouth shut, keep my head down, and just roll with it. And that philosophy has actually served me pretty well, for the most part. I am working on a couple sites that were hit by the algorithm update. And one in particular was a site I was really proud of. I was the consultant. We got their news section going on their website. And then after they implemented the changes that I recommended to them, they made $2 million in 6 months. Pretty fucking proud of that website and that team. And they got hit. and they're an authority site. For all practical purposes, they are the Fox News of their niche. And so it is a niche site, yes, but it's a pretty broad ass niche. And they made all kinds of money, and all their money was from Google Ads, served through Ezoic. So essentially, super AdSense, if you want to label Ezoic and Mediavine as anything, it's probably super AdSense, corporate level AdSense. And now they're sucking. They're going from making 5,000 a day to 150 to $200 a day post this update. What's interesting is we look at a lot of their keywords that they had before and the pages that they were performing before, and then we cross check that data with pages that are ranking now. And honestly, the position change in what I call their top 300 is not that significant. Now, so what caused the traffic drop? I think looking at it, it's not so much that they lost all of their rankings, it's they lost all of their supplemental keyword ranking. So we were ranking, let's say, a page as an example, making these numbers completely up. A page for it was optimized for one head term. And they don't really optimize either. So I'm going to point that out because they write in Surfer, but they're not doing that on page optimization that a typical SEO would, because this is a real team, real writers, real editors, and they just use Surfer as a platform that they can, collaborate and then post their content via Surfer. They're not using the actual metric numbers. So anyway, they write for a particular topic, not necessarily doing keywords. They write for topics, right? And I just think I created distinction in those two things because there's this trend right now of, oh, we don't use keywords, we use queries. I mean, shut the fuck up. I mean, Google is using keywords, whether you form it in a one word search string or a question string, it's still a keyword. And ultimately, under the scientific thing of the patents, a user submits a query, and a user has always submitted a query since Google started. So playing keyword games, oh, it's a query, not a keyword. We don't optimize for quick keywords anymore. Shut the fuck up. You're doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. Anyway, rant complete. So they don't optimize their pages for broad keywords. They just, they figure out the topic, they write about that topic, and this pattern or system has been working, or up to now has been working really well for them. And Google would rank these pages not for just what they're targeting, but for hundreds of keywords, hundreds of different keywords, and we'd see that in Search Console for each page. Now that number is dropped. Well, after the update message dropped, that's gone down. And they're not ranking for as many keywords. Now that the core update is over, all those queries are coming right back. So it's weird, right? The other thing I should say is this site started dropping before the update. Like I can get all pissy and huffy and go, oh, the update did it. The update did it. Well, in January, something happened to this website where it started just losing traffic. And you think in the market, in its particular niche, January is not, well, for the most part, it's not seasonal. There are some seasonal topics in their market, but for the most part, it's not a seasonal thing. So in January, traffic did start dropping, and then it just continued to slide. And then the core update, this update came out, and it kind of like took a nosedive. And then the update's complete, and now it's back on the upward trend. So we have to ask ourselves a whole bunch of questions. And unfortunately, because of the scale, it just, going from 4,000 a day to $100 a day makes owners fucking nervous. So what happens is a lot of people do a lot of testing on a lot of different things and then hope that some of that is going to be effective. We don't have the benefit, or when you don't have the benefit of having um, one particular site, and then you can take it and just be patient with it. When you don't have that benefit, it ends up you end up playing whack-a-mole, and then you don't know which mole that you hit was actually the one to fix something. So what I did was we have our top 300, and if you don't have a classification for top 300 on your websites, you probably should. And it doesn't have to be 300; it could be top 10, depending on your type of size of your site or whatever. But these are the 10 to 300, in our case, 300 pages that we use to see, check on the health of the website. One, these are also the ones that generate the most traffic and the most revenue. So we have what Head Kabitis calls the canaries in the coal mine. We have 300 pages where if something goes wrong to these 300 pages, we can pretty much guarantee that it's happening to the other 30,000 pages of the website. So we need to figure this out. And so in order to accomplish all of this, and we're doing a couple of things. One, their team is doing a freshness update. So they're going through and just looking and making sure is it still content still relevant to the query, because it's, Google changes the user intent in the search results all the time. There's no magic tool that says, oh, this is informational, this is navigational, and this is commercial. There's no magic tool. The only magic tool you got is go to Google, add your keywords in there, and see what the F Google thinks that the user intent is. So they're doing that. And then rewriting the content and then republishing it. So we did that. The next thing that we did was the permalinks. Now, I am typically the last person that is going to tell you, oh, you should change your URLs and fix your content structure and change your permalinks, especially if you got an established website. I mean, if let's say, and I'm looking at Charles Taylor, he's the only picture I got in my Zoom right now. Let's say Charles came to me and said, "Hey, we want you to advise us on Fox." I can guarantee you my paycheck for the rest of the year that the last thing I would tell Charles to do is change your URL structure. There's no fucking way we're even going to do that. But in this case, $5,000 to $100 a day. I mean, short of them lighting the website on fire, it wasn't going to hurt anything. And they had dates in their URLs. Now, why does this matter? It's actually, in my opinion, the CTR thing. So if you're looking through the search results and you're looking at, let's say, a listing on, oh Jesus, give me something. Chip Holmes. You're looking for information about Chip Holmes. Let's say he's a financial marketer or a financial analyst, and Chip Holmes has a whole bunch of articles for a financial term, and then he's got dates in his URLs, which would lead me to believe that content is older. But if you actually read the content in my example, and in the example of the site that we're working on, it's updated. So what we were doing is essentially review, edit, update, republish on a new URL, and redirect. And that was fine, but the dates were still in the URL thing. So since we have nothing else to use, we changed every single URL and removed the dates permalink structure out of the URLs and set the redirects. That change all by itself, after I've recrawled the entire site and submitted everything to get Google to recrawl the entire site, stopped the traffic loss. So I think that's really good. That's a really good result. And again, I would not recommend, that would be the last thing that I would tell you to do. Like, I know a lot of people who would take over an SEO, a website, see the URL structure and go, we're changing the URL structure for no other reason than to fucking change the URL structure, in my opinion. But when the house is on fire, you can shoot it with whatever the hell you want. It's not you're not going to hurt anything. So we changed the URL structure and we actually stopped the traffic loss. That's good. Next thing I did is the top 300. The team picked their own top 300. I went through their search console data and or analytics data for the period of time where they're making their most money when they made that $2 million, and we looked at all of the. I looked at all of the pages that were getting traffic, and I found essentially their highest traffic winners and the terms that were bringing the highest traffic winners according to Search Console. Um, which is a little hard to differentiate kind of the data in that trash, but I needed something, so I found 125 keywords that were high traffic, were getting a lot of impressions for the website. And then we looked at that in rank tracker and said, all right, high impressions, sort that, and we're also going to pull your impressions count, clicks, average position with Search Console. And we're going to see all that in rank tracker and look at that inside. Now I saw a pattern where they were ranking for, let's say, one example is they were ranking for Kohl's, like the store Kohl's, for whatever reason they were ranking for that. That search volume is stupid high. They got a lot of impressions for it, and then they got no traffic for it. Like, why is Google ranking it for these terms that not necessarily even I mean, Kohl's is a business, the website covers businesses, but then that covered Kohl's business. So we had to look at those and figure out why Google was doing that. And the point of that whole exercise was we actually got to see that there are some weird off-topic things that Google is picking the website for. Like there's local near me searches. There is nothing on the website to indicate that that is a provider of services at all. It should be in a local listing, but Google was showing it for that. So we're getting a little bit of mixed data from the analytics and the Search Console, and you got to figure that out and do that hard work to go, what the fuck was going on, and what did we really lose? Did we lose something that we shouldn't have had in the first place, or did we lose our market? So we had to figure that out. Anyway, after I got all those crappy keywords pulled out of there, I came up with 115. I think the total number is 115-ish keywords in Rank Tracker, and I found the top 20 that I like. That I'm like, yeah, that's totally out of there. So if you're doing the math in your head, I took a website that has 38,000 pages, and I found the 20 pages that could get us the most traffic, the most ad revenue, and the most amount of information in the shortest period of time. And those are going to be our test pages that we're going to go, these are the ones we did this, watched it, did this, watched it, did this, watched it. All right, we did those things. This is what happened. Let's apply those across the site. And everything we test has to be able to apply it across the site. So any enterprise guy will tell you it's cool to change 5-10 pages, but when you have to change 100,000, 200,000, or an entire enterprise SEO plan, you don't do it with just it's got to be scalable. You can't do advanced schema for the Fox News website unless you hire some people that are just doing nothing but going through after the editor approves it for publication and creating the schema and then doing it live. Like that would be an awesome job, Charles. If you need someone to do that for you, let me know. I'll take care of it. But I mean, you're just not. The practicality of doing that is not. It's not there. But that said, so when you do these tests and you find these things that you can change to influence how your rankings are, you have to keep that in mind. So what are we testing? First, we're testing hidden div. I know the hidden div works. I know the application of hidden div works. There are a couple of questions out there. Mainly question number one, can you put a hidden div inside and make a list, like list of keywords, for example, or a list of entities, or a list of TF, IDF, LSI terms, keyword LSI keywords. Can you just create that list, and will it hurt your rankings? And there's been some subjective interpretation that that would actually hurt you, like having a list, or just keywords in a row. Or yeah, I guess it would be considered a list, but not with what I'm talking about, not with the HTML list, HTML wrapped around it. It's just a string of words. Can that hurt you? So we got to figure that out, because the practical application at scale of a hidden div would require us to be able to do that. The next thing we're doing is checking on the about and mention schema. We know it works. We know it provides effort, improvement, but can we do it at scale? The answer for this website is actually yes, we can, because the editor is a pretty smart dude and his team is real smart. So I could teach them very quickly how to use a tool like Zista or topicalrelevance.com. Mainly Zista now, because topicalrelevance.com has got a whole bunch of ads on it that are stupid, annoying, and ruin the user experience of it. But I could teach them how to do that, and they can pull that and get it and get a value out of that really quick. That test will be done actually today. I'll have the results. I applied the changes for that particular test. Let me get the exact date, on the 22nd. And then I add all those URLs recrawled. So 29th, I should know whether that worked or not. So that'll be published into SIA, SEO Intel here real soon. Again, it's 20 pages, knowledge graph schema applied. And I put in the significant link to the categories, but I'm not tracking the ranking page with categories. I'm just tracking the knowledge graph schema applied. And I didn't even do internal linking, like significant links, the distinction. I didn't do any silo stuff, just the knowledge graph panel. So we'll see how that does. Then we're going to do the hidden div on those, and we'll see how those do. When we're waiting for, well, let me back up. The hidden div stuff, we're just going to do headings, lists, maybe tables, nothing hard, right? We're just doing enough to make the page optimize. And I think what we're going to do, what I'm going to end up doing with that is, one, I'm running a Quora report. It's 7.5, the beta that is never coming apparently, but I'm using 7.5, and we're going to get a list of the entities, and just I have a ChatGPT script that can take 7.5's recommendations and create the HTML for me, and do the headings and add words, etc., to paragraphs and lists, that kind of stuff, that limited stuff that you just, that's the perfect use for it, for a hidden div. It's going to find those, and we're going to get that implemented. And it's not going to take all of that long. We'll check the rankings before, and then we'll get it recrawled, and we'll check the rankings after and verify that it works. Downside of that method is Quora, even on my Mac Studio, I got M2 pretty much blown out. Was the best you could get the Mac Studio, right? I got it all jacked up. And even with that, Quora runs stupid slow. And it's a little bit of because I have APIs turned on, and a whole lot of it because Quora hasn't been updated in ages. But still, it just runs slow. So that's a downside of that at scale. 38,000 pages, 15 minutes a page for Quora, not fucking realistic. But top 300 or your good money makers are realistic. I got a question in from Charles. I want to try making ChatGPT prompt to follow core guidelines. Have you tried this? Do you know anyone who has? Yeah, I have. I have a script. I have a core prompt, and essentially, Charles, you could take in 7.5. It's got those phases. You could take the output of those phases, add variation to paragraph, add variation to H1, add variation blah to H2s. You could take that list and then it'll write the HTML for you for those variations. And it honestly it takes care of if you Quora will tell you to do like say 300 add 300 instances of X. Well, ChatGPT is like, no, spammer, fuck off, right? So all you do is limit it to say 10 insertions of the same keyword, and it handles it just fine. It has also been my experience because Quora is oftentimes based off of data from the top 100, right? That's how it works. It finds top 100, and obviously, you know, in local search, for example, you have all those directories and it tells you to add 50 instances of the word Phoenix SEO. Well, that's because everyone and their dog has in those directories has Phoenix SEO listed in there. So obviously you don't want to do that. So if you just do like 10 and you set your prompt to do that at 10, then you're all right. Well, I am thinking of that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Right. Yeah, here it is, right here. See, where I will put it in the prompt section inside of the Discord today, Charles. You can check it out, play with it. But there it is. So I left it open so I don't forget. All right, so now we have the hidden div taken care of. We got knowledge graph schema taken care of. Knowledge graph schema, totally scalable. Just takes a little bit of adding one step to the writer's processes or the editor's process. Easy. Hidden div, that's for the SEO team. They're obviously not working on all 38,000 pages at one time anyway. And if their publishing pace slows down a little bit and they only publish, say, one or two evergreen articles a week or even a day, then Quora and the hidden div should be pretty easy to take care of. So what do we got left? Last is, well, technical. We're always looking at technical. I consistently recrawl that website to make sure that we're not missing something. You're always going to miss something, but right now we're doing the best we can on the technical side. Crawl with Screaming Frog and Sipo. So we got that. Now we have the last thing, which is backlinks. So originally, I don't know, remember December 22, I think it was, maybe 21, probably even sooner than that. My years all get smashed together. But there was an update. And before that update, I was ranking over the top SEO.com for 1,400 plus cities. Number one position, 1,400 plus cities for city SEO terms. And then an update came and took out probably 75% of those pages. And the one underlying common thing that all of those things had was none of those pages had backlinks. I ranked it, off of my plan, the team's implementation of my plan. I ranked it for 1,400 plus cities with no backlinks in city SEO terms. And what had happened was Google said, "Oh, you don't have any backlinks. So we're going to take care of you and we demote you." As soon as I built, around that same time was when Ted started talking about his 25 referring domain setup that he did for his e-commerce company that he worked for. He's essentially used PHP. Whenever they published a new product, the PHP script would create new HTML page for each product and post it on 25 domains automatically. And ta-da, he's got 25 referring domains to each project page. Well, we can all do that with an IFTT network or PBNs. And so that's how I fixed overtop SEO. You just created 25 referring domains for every page and everything came back. Magic. The same is, I thought, is what we're dealing with this particular website. So I have a couple of um, hindrances in this case. One is this team is stupid white hat SEO. Like, I don't want to do that. Google says they're not whiny like that, but I gotta exaggerate it for the purpose of telling a story. And so when we talk about backlinks, you can hear their collective sighs, like, oh Jesus, this guy's talking to us about backlinks again. So it's not always the bestest of subjects. But how do we get around that? So first we get a thing called Next Scripts, and it's Snap is the plugin, and then there's a Snap Pro version, and I had them buy Snap Pro. And they weren't using their social media accounts anyway. So now Snap Pro syndicates to their social media accounts every time that they publish, creating some referring domains for them. It's not 25 by any means of the imagination, but it's not zero. So we implemented that. The next step is to look at their backlinks and then do a disavow file. Now, if any of you have been following Grindstone on Twitter, he's been talking about disavows and doing recoveries using his metrics analysis to determine what to disavow and what not. And it's actually really simple. Like, I'll break this down dumbass style for you. If the website you're getting backlinks from has no traffic, it's probably a bad backlink, so disavow. It's, I mean, he puts more into it, right? And he looks a little bit closer at him, obviously, but for the most part, it's got no traffic. It's probably bullshit. Disavow. And he has some examples. I have him in my mastermind. He's a member of my mastermind, and we get to see more advanced examples than he's doing on Twitter, that he shows on Twitter. And then in person, like in one-on-one conversations, I get to see more information. We talk directly about specific sites, and I can tell you that he's only disavowing, say, 30% of a backlink profile, recrawling the URLs after they're disavowed and seeing ranking improvements shoot right up to the moon, just using that disavow files. So one of my clients is also works with Grind. He buys links from Grind, and they talked about the disavow thing, and that client specifically is doing his own disavow file following Grindstone's method. And we'll get to see and watch how he's doing on that. I'm going to do the same thing to Digital Ear, because there's a lot of junk domains or URLs and just bad backlinks that every site picks up. Digital Ear has them, so why the hell not? And then finally, I'm going to do it to our test pages on our subject site here, our niche site. It's going to do a couple things for us. One, we can verify whether the process is actually does it work, right? Does the disavow file work, and under what conditions does the disavow file work for you? And then two, because this particular website is an authority website, it has 56 million backlinks, and it would cost me $18,000 with link research tools to analyze their backlinks with link research tools. Now, I'm not a baller, and I'm way too damn cheap to pay $18,000. So we're going to do this pages. And as we do the top 300 pages and build this disavow file, we'll build a domain list of common offenders. And ultimately, that should get us theoretically around the 30% mark of disavowed bad backlinks. Now, how does this site get bad backlinks? It's an authority site. Remember, I said it's an authority site. And I've talked before about those image backlinks and how you guys need to keep an eye on those things, and they're going to get you. And I bet you if any authority site of any value has these backlinks, And essentially, what they're doing is they're creating mass websites and they're using your images and they're hot linking to your website and piggybacking off of your authority to essentially build their sites in the hopes that it's going to rank their websites. It's from everything I can see analyzing the domains, it doesn't work for them. And all it is doing is hurting us as authority site SEOs or authority site business owners because it's actually Google's punishing you for people scraping your content and using your URLs, using your images on their crap. So we're going after those. We're going to get those out, and then the other big one is it's a EAT expertise. What is it? Expertise, authority, and trust. What the hell's the other EAT? Experience. Yeah. It's an EAT play, and what they're doing to authority sites. And Charles, you can check this out and see if you can find any for Fox's author pages. They're taking the author pages, header to footer, the entire making an exact duplicate copy of the author pages and then putting it on their websites, and then interlinking their mass pages with this fake author. So they're trying to do kind of like author stealing is, I guess, the term for this. And I found those, and I thought that was fucking interesting. The idea is you take known authors from authority sites. So I go to Fox News and I get Sean Hannity's author profile and in theory post it on my website and then list Sean Hannity, linking back to this exact duplicate copy of Fox News' Sean Hannity's author profile on mine, and somehow magically that's going to make my stuff rank higher. Well, they're doing that, and they're not hiding it. You can fucking, I was looking through one by one on these backlinks, which is why you need to be doing a real link cleaning profile this quarter, and I found them. So that was, it was interesting. Does it work? Again, every domain that I saw it on didn't look like it was helping them, but it was certainly hurting this authority website. So if you get a chance or remember, and ask me about the saga and how that's going. But if you are an SIA, you are going to get the knowledge graph test. The results we're about to mention across these, assuming that everything worked out and everything was recrawled, and there's a repositioning of the rankings that say, "Yep, it was recrawled." And all I gotta really do is check on the cache. Make sure the cache was there, and then once the cache is there and the recrawl is there, then you figure that the search results are applied, the search changes are applied. So we're gonna check on that, get that published this week. Then the hidden div test, and then finally the disavow things. And I think the disavow, out of all three of those, the disavow is probably going to be the most effective in general for everyone. But the SIA crowd should get that. I can't guarantee. I'm going to do 20 pages, and that'll be a good subjective. Hey, this is what I did, kind of thing. But it won't be like definitive proof. It won't be definitive proof until we get the top 300. But I can't make the membership wait for that long for all 300 of those. So I'll do the 20 pages first, and then we'll work out the top 300 as a follow-on test. And I think that'll be good for everybody. So looking forward to that. All righty, let's go to questions. Let me switch this so I don't show you something you're not supposed to see. All right. Thank you for all you do in the community. That's from Bernard. You're very welcome. Rare, refreshing, someone can provide that much value. Oh, thanks. Oh, shucks. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions on a tool for getting topical relevance that you recommend? Corey seasons think time is highly important. What do you think? I have plenty of videos on record of what I think of Corey is teaching, style and him, but he's not wrong in regard to topical relevance, but it's not because Corey's talking about it. Ever since people started figuring out entities and entity related to content, um, and frankly, ever since anyone started talking about LSI and then TF-IDF and then entity analysis and then topical relevance, this has always been important. It's just you had a whole brand new name. It was repositioned from LSI keywords to topical relevance to make the white hat crowd feel better about it after they bashed the whole LSI indexing is not used in the algorithm. Well, LSI indexing and LSI keywords are two different concepts, but thanks for playing the game. Anyway, how do you figure that out? So there's a combination of them, and you're going to recognize all these names: ClearScope, Surfer, Cognitive SEO, Neuron Writer, was it Market Muse, Inlinks, and there's a new one out that I'm going to test. I forgot the name of it. I'm going to order that today. Those all do, they all look at topical relevance, and they use natural language processing tools to determine the topic, and then they do a SERP analysis and say how is everyone, what words are they all using. And the reason they do that is because you're doing a correlation study to see is there patterns that Google may or may not be using. But if you look at the top 100 keywords, or the top 100 rankings for the top 100 keywords in the same market, you can figure out patterns pretty quick. Anyway, that's what all of those NLP analysis tools are doing. And so, if you want to get into the idea of topical relevance, then you need to use those tools to analyze your individual content. Now, the other part of that is the topical map. Create a topical map. The downside of the topical map concept, in my opinion, is that generally people will go, I have this topical map with 5,000 different topics and I can map out my website and blah, blah, blah. And then they create a 5,000 page website based off of this topical map. And then they rank for 3 months. And then Google goes, not today, clown, and bitch slaps your website out of the index. And then you're in the Facebook groups crying because it's, Google hated you. And so if you're going to use topical maps, which is essentially the same as creating an outline for your website, the same philosophy that you would for outline for your content, don't go stupid and make 5,000 pages, because you can't promote them. You can't possibly do backlinks for them. You can't reasonably edit them. It's just dumb. Make 100 of them a month, and you can do that. Realistically, you can do that. It only takes 2 people to do that, and to read them, to edit them, and to put them in the right places. 100 is realistic, and then you can promote them with tools like IFTT networks, SEO Neo, just to get your referring domains up there. Once the referring domains kick in, you get real users, and then your real backlinks pop in on their own, or you can find the ones that are making you the most money and push some PBNs or guest posts, or however you want to put a little bit more authority towards your good money makers in your set of 100. So that's how I recommend you do that. In Corey's course, the version that I saw, he had a website that was selling visas. It was getting you visas. And in order to promote that, he would essentially put, for the lack of a better description, if you guys don't know what a CIA intel book is, this is a big ass book about the country, demographics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they publish those once a year, every couple of years. But there's a book for each country, and he was essentially doing that for the website, his example. And I thought that was like it was overkill. It didn't make no damn sense to have that much when you're just doing some visa stuff. And a lot of people that I know that were following that method and are still following some version of that type of method, not necessarily Corey's, but some version of that. Those are the ones that you see that are crying about their websites being gone because Google's figured it out. I mean, to me, it's just makes too much sense. This website has, 10, 20 pages that, are getting all of its traffic. Those are all of its backlinks, and these other 10,000 don't have anything. Of course, they can easily shut down those 10,000, or you can just shut down the whole website and say this is junk. So if you're not promoting via getting external links for your content, and your internal link sucks, that means no one's voting for you, and you're not even voting for yourself. So why should we index you and give you traffic? To me, it seems like the easiest way to get rid of spam on the internet in regards to AI and dealing with AI. So that I know that's a roundabout answer to your whole topical relevance thing, but that's essentially where you're at there, Bernard. Got any tips on web automation tools that does stuff for me? Copy, paste, etc. I do not need VAs. That's a fucking broad question. Yeah, go do your own research and find the tools that support the work that you are doing and you want to automate it, or learn how to make automations on your own. That's my tips. There is plenty of automation tools and automation tool sets for different tasks. You gotta drop the money for them. Alrighty, let's see. Question here. Macro recorder. Yeah, macro recorder. Make IFTT, Zapier. You can buy people's software. I'm testing Google Domination from Peter Drew for it makes driving directions maps. Pretty damn expensive for what it does, but we're gonna test it out. I mean, there's plenty of tools and software that automate all kinds of things. So it's really about your research. I don't, I can make recommendations till I'm blue in the face, but none of them will apply to you because I don't know what you're looking to automate. So do what I do. Google.com or Bing.com or Copilot or ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or, figure that shit out. All righty. Now, what do we gotta do? Oh yeah, I got a questions thing. Top chat over here on YouTube. We answer your guys' questions now. You look good. Oh, thank you. Oh, let's see. Ninja, I want to use Lee Witcher's link building tool. I'm not sure about the anchor text. I have a website with 400 city pages, thinking about building 50 links to each page. I would do, if you're going to do that scale, I would do brand. Don't, and just leave it at brand. I would have to play with this tool some more. I'm not entirely what it's doing is it's creating. It's not necessarily a backlink. It's got the iframe, and the iframe is the backlink on this relevant piece of paper page in the file. So what you can do is create one and then look and verify whether that is correct or not. But I'm pretty sure the only backlink is the iframe, in which case you don't have any anchor text, so it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do anything good or anything bad in regards to anchor text relevance, right? And then go check that out and see if it doesn't have any backlinks that are anchored, then you're good to go. If it does have backlinks that are anchored, you can create it with the tool using the keyword that you want, and then go into the HTML and change the anchored backlinks to your brand name, and you're good. So there's a couple ways around that and leverage that tool for that. My domain name contains a keyword. What anchor should I use and how much each to be able to boost the in rankings relatively safe way? Exact match domains with exact match anchors are the death sentence for you. You got to do brand, and if you were silly enough to buy the brand and name, Chip Homes Near Me, and you have chiphomesnearme.com, and your anchor text is now chiphomesnearme.com near me, you're probably going to fry yourself. It's just one of the downsides of using exact match anchors terms as your brand name. I notice I didn't say as your URL, as your domain name, is your brand name. So if I had phoenixseo.com and I had the brand name of Digital Ear, I can link to phoenixseo.com all day long with Digital Ear, Digital Ear, Digital Ear. I wouldn't hurt anything. And then every once in a while, trip in an exact match, and I'm good. I'll get the benefit of the exact match, and I'm also doing branding. And so you got to be careful of that. Why do you love or like SEO? I like the challenge of it. It's something new, it's something different. One, that's number one. Number two, it's if you're once you're good at it, you can make a lot of good money. You don't necessarily have to be good at it to make good money, but unless you're a douchebag who takes people's businesses in their own hands and then goes out and runs a bunch of Fiverr gigs, um, then there is that. You can still make money, but I love the challenge and I love the money, and then I love the a majority of the community. I mean, there are just like every community, there are shitheads and there are people that you shouldn't listen to, and there are people that are yeah, overly dangerous that are giving out advice, and then there's people who steal ideas. But right along with that, there's people who have great ideas. There are people who share their experiences, and there's so many different applications of SEO. The SEO I do, I couldn't do what Charles. I couldn't take my SEO and apply it to Charles Taylor stuff. That just wouldn't work. It's scalable. Wouldn't deal with it. And then Charles Taylor on the other side of it would probably come over to my side and have an aneurysm because he's allowed to do so much things. And he's like, oh my God, I can, freedom. It's like a Braveheart episode. So, you know, and then you have Shopify and you have e-commerce and you have directories and stuff and you have local and you have national and you have affiliate. I mean, you can change up so much, and you're doing SEO, but you're really at the end of the day, you're not always working in the same thing over and over again. That's why I like it. What right now in your life gets you excited to getting up in the morning? That's a good one. Right? It gets me excited to get up in the morning. Probably working out. Yep. I get up and do cardio. I like it. It just gets my mood. I flush my brain out for the day, ready to go. And full disclosure, I don't necessarily get me up. My dog gets me up because my wife gets up at 4, take a shower. She comes over and licks me. And then if I'm not up, then she'll rip all the blankets off the bed and make sure I get up. And we sleep with the air conditioner on. So you take your blankets off and your air conditioner's on. It gets cold. So you get up. All right. Mark, what's the best way to optimize and rank your website for near me searches? Oh, Jesus. It's put near me in your content, put near me in your anchors, cross fingers and hope, geo relevant content, etc. The the days of Dallas Plumber near me inside your content helping you are pretty over, and it was never sounded natural anyway. But you put in hidden divs and stuff. Mainly anchor text is how I approach this. And a lot of it, near me searches are so hard to optimize for properly without making your pages look dumb or without having to be secretive about it, that you need to just rely on Google to do it. So if you optimize for the top level term, roofers or roofing contractor, optimize for that. Then you optimize that roofing contractor template for the city. Generally, and then you have a geo silo over there. Generally, you start popping for near me searches on its own without having to influence too much. Hidden div. Hidden div is a concept Lee Witcher's promoted in his course. It's a stupid expensive course, but if you know a little bit of HTML, or you have just use display none. Look up our Google display none in HTML, and that's hidden div. Mastermind, nope, can't join. That's mine. It's invite only. And I keep it really, really low. I did have a free mastermind at one point in time. And I can tell you that 300 plus people signed up for it and nobody fucking talked in it. So groups are what they are. If you don't engage in them and you're there to just take other people's ideas, then the mastermind sucks, or a group sucks, or your Discord sucks, or whatever. But if you are engaging in them and you are talking to each other and you are sharing ideas, you don't have to be. I'm not saying go in there and give away your $10 million idea or anything. Just saying if you are sharing ideas and having conversations in groups work great. And my mastermind works great because we all, one, you get kicked out if you don't engage and talk. It's just the end of it. And two, we all share, engage, and talk and like each other. So it works out. Do I have a paid mastermind, Mark? That's SEO Intel is probably the closest I have to paid mastermind. And really, with SEO Intel, you get the SEO tests, you get the courses that are published. A lot of those are dated, full disclosure, they are pretty dated, and I need to go through and update those. And then you get the paid section of the uh, Discord. So you can see the Discord, the join links at clintbutler.net. I'll do some more better promoting with that. And then there's a paid section, and mainly the value of that, Mark, is you can actually, after this show is over, the SEO Intel folks have a Ask Me Anything where they can, any problems, things that they saw, et cetera, we can openly discuss that stuff. So, and we do that once a week. If you want to know the value of that, I charge my clients $2,000 a month to do the exact same thing that is coming with the SEO Intel method. So the only difference is you get the benefit inside of a bunch of people versus just me. So let's see your post. Are you a certain SaaS owner and is overdue applicants thoughtful and restrained despite your obvious frustration? Well done, but what's next? Protest at his home? I would have to go back to Seattle to accomplish that. I guess I could do a little social manipulation and send people in this house raw, but not doing that. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm the only one crying that it's not getting updated, if the rest of his membership aren't saying anything, then he has absolutely zero motivation to do it. I'm just one dude expressing my frustrations, and it is what it is, I guess. If he doesn't care enough about my opinion and the money that I give him to finally release an update, then he doesn't care enough. But it's just fucking life. Deal with it. Eventually, someone will make another tool. Until then, I'll use what I got and just drive on. Let's see. Client wants an interlinking audit for an e-com site. Once the link is mapped out, what are accountable actions you look for? Look at your anchor text, and then you need to do the test to see how many internal links are actually doing you any good. I said this before, or say it, and it's, digitalear.com, my agency site, 5 internal links, exact match. The number 6 link doesn't do shit for me. You need to figure out that math for that particular domain, and then alter your anchor text after that you have that information. So after you get, let's say it's 1 money page and 5 silo pages, after you get your 5 exact match, then start using entities as anchors, TF, IDF as anchors, etc., to get and you can do 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 and work your way through, and you just got to watch those. At some point, every domain has this level where Google says, "Yeah, we're done. We got it. This is your page about X, and we're not going to give you any more ranking credit for it on your internal links. You need to figure that out." And then you'll begin to go. And thanks as a reminder to me on that site we're working on. We will be fixing the internal linking. It's not horrible. It's just there's no plan to it. And so they're we're trying to figure out, and maybe you want to use, if you're listening and you're a stupid smart developer, this would be a good plugin. Plenty of internal linking plugins where you set a keyword to a URL and it creates the link. I want to be able to set a set of keywords to a URL and say how many of those you want. So if I have 50 keywords, my primary keyword, I want 5, and then I want one of everything else, right? That would be awesome. And to this one URL, and then it'll go through and it'll create 5 exact match and then one of everything else across the website. That would be dope. Haven't seen anyone do that yet. Even the link, was that link cushion or whatever? The supposedly AI internal linking tool plugin. I put that on a client site, by the way. It's not AI. If there's AI in there, it's the dumbest fucking AI on the planet. It does a whole lot of exact match, and you just don't need and can't leverage that much exact match. So you got to, teach it and pay attention to it. So I'm looking for a plugin where I can just say, here's my URL. Here are the keywords that I want to do, and I want this number of each keyword across the entire website, and that would be dope. All righty. I don't see any more questions in the chat bar now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to the form inside of the description for this week's episode. So if you're watching, you can ask your questions for next week inside the form. And that's saved now. So that's there. And I'll catch those next week. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for coming and checking out the show, hanging out with us. And we will see you next